hoops.
Andrew Wiggins could finally be traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves after all the talk, the rumors, the bust label. He's playing like the real Andrew Wiggins. There are some desperate NBA teams out there, and Minnesota might want to sell high if they don't believe in him. I believe this is the real Andrew Wiggins. Took long enough, like 6 years, but he's finally here. There are some people who will tell you this is a fake, but they're wrong, and in this video I'll tell you why. Now, if the T-Wolves front office is one of those who thinks this isn't the real Andrew Wiggins and they do want to sell high, we're going to go over 3 realistic trade scenarios that could go down this year. It'd be a win-win for each team. Hey, it's Casey Kiernan here from the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit us with a subscribe because we're coming out with 3 quality NBA videos per week. And we've got the AM Hoops podcast. Every single morning, Monday through Friday, guaranteed wherever you live, whenever you wake up, it'll be in your podcast feed. We go over every single game, every single night. Now, before this year, Andrew Wiggins was a cautionary tale. This is what happens when you hype up a kid too much. At best, you could look stupid, and at worst, you could ruin the kid. I mean, at 18 years old, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, ESPN the magazine. People were saying things like, he could be the next LeBron James.
If he lives up to it, what I love about it, Skip, is that it's going to be the indication that he's the heir apparent to the Kobe's, LeBron's.
Yeah. I mean, that is legit irresponsible talk to put all that weight on the shoulders of a kid who's just 18 years old, hasn't even played a game in the league. Eventually, he did play a game in the league. First, he was drafted #1 overall in 2014 by the Cavaliers, who flipped him for Kevin Love in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Love won a title with the actual LeBron James in Cleveland. But in between that trade, talk about irresponsible. These are the kinds of questions he had to deal with.
Do you think Cleveland wants you?
Yeah. I hope so.
You know, people have ragged on Wiggins' mentality and his mindset and his attitude. That is a kid being asked those questions, being thrown those labels on. That would mess anyone up in the head. But we don't entirely feel bad for Andrew Wiggins because despite the fact that he never lived up to the #1 overall pick, 2 years ago, the T-Wolves decided to give him a maximum contract extension of $148 million. Now, what do you think all that money did? Did it make him more confident? No, it did not. It only made the negative noise even louder for Andrew Wiggins. But this last offseason, 2 things happened in that franchise that changed everything. The first was a change at head coach. In comes Ryan Saunders. He and Wiggins are tight, like Wiggins and Ryan Saunders' wedding tight. Wiggins cannot feel more supported now from the guy who's on the sideline in Ryan Saunders, his new head coach.
Every good thing that happens to Andrew deserves, because Andrew does work hard.
The second change was the guy who's there to run the front office. His name is Gerson Rosas. He comes from the Daryl Morey tree of analytics. He was with the Houston Rockets for years. We all know what Daryl Morey and the Rockets love to do. They love threes, high percentage shots at the rim, and tweets that cause legit international drama. But that's another video. Ugh. By the start of this year, people were ready to call Andrew Wiggins a bust. In fact, they were.
If I'm a Timberwolves fan and I heard that quote, I would go, oh, no! How many more years is this guy signed for?
And then it happened. A change in philosophy for the Minnesota Timberwolves to try to kind of become the Houston Rockets North. But to become the Houston Rockets North, Wiggins would need to reinvent his game, which needed reinventing. All right, so before we get to the trades, gonna throw a few numbers at you to sort of illustrate why he's been so better this year. The bottom line is he's averaging career highs in points, rebounds, and assists. And really it all comes down to his shot selection. Years 1 through 5, this dude thought he was Kobe Bryant, only he didn't shoot like Kobe Bryant. He took a whopping 36% of his field goals from the mid-range. This year, that's down to only about 20% of mid-range shots. He's taken most of his shots at the rim and a boatload of them from 3, just the way Gerson Rosas and Ryan Saunders want him to play. So let's talk about him driving to the rack. He drives 13.8 times per game. That makes him the 23rd best at it in the league. Last year is all the way down at 69th in the league at 7.9 drives per game. And what about his playmaking? Ryan Saunders is trusting Andrew Wiggins with the ball in his hands. Last season, he ran 15 pick and rolls per 100 possessions. This year, that's more than doubled. Yes, it helps that Shabazz Napier and Jeff Teague are injured for now, so Wiggins is like the de facto point guard for now. But the fact is that he's passing more than he ever has, and he's got a career low in turnovers. That's right, more passes, but even less turnovers, though he's handling the ball more often. And we haven't even mentioned the best part. This dude is clutch this year.
Wiggins looking for a three, and Andrew Wiggins has a 40-point night.
The last 3 minutes of a game, with the score within 3 points, Andrew Wiggins is 9 of 14 from the floor, cold-blooded. And the bottom line is they are winning games with Andrew Wiggins on the floor. But here's the thing. What the haters say and what the T-Wolves front office might believe is, this is not the real Andrew Wiggins. We have seen this before. And that's true. Back in 2016-17, he had a super hot start and he fell off. So if the T-Wolves front office does want to sell high on Andrew Wiggins, there should be some takers. Here's 3 realistic trades for Andrew Wiggins. Trade number 1, the Golden State Warriors get Andrew Wiggins and Minnesota gets D'Angelo Russell. Now this trade could not go down until December 15th, but we all know the Warriors are loaded in the backcourt, and while D'Lo was carrying the team before his ankle injury, they don't need him next year with Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry healthy. Instead, they could use an elite frontcourt player like Andrew Wiggins if he continues on this track. And then there's the whole D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns friendship thing. D'Lo said he would like to play with Cat one day, and there was the time that Cat put a cryptic loading pic on his IG. At the same time, Wiggins took Minnesota out of his bio. Now all that talk has cooled off, but with Wiggins upping his trade value, maybe it could go down after all. Trade number 2, the Portland Trail Blazers get Andrew Wiggins, and Minnesota gets CJ McCollum. All right, now this could also not go down until later in the year, but right now Portland is desperate and Anthony Simons is legit. Portland is in win now mode, but they're losing now. They're 4-8 and have lost 6 of 7 games. It may be time to consider trading CJ McCollum because young Anthony Simons is shooting 38% from deep, and he looks like the future B to Lillard's A in that backcourt. They don't need Anthony Simons, CJ McCollum, and Damian Lillard in their backcourt. They need frontcourt depth, and Wiggins can play the 3. And forget depth, Dame just needs talented players around him at this point. And for Minnesota, they don't have, but they need a legit elite level point guard, which CJ McCollum would certainly be. Really exciting pairing with Karl Anthony Towns. Trade number 3, the Charlotte Hornets get Andrew Wiggins, Minnesota gets PJ Washington, Nicholas Batum, and 2 first-round picks. This trade is all about Charlotte being desperate, which they certainly are. They threw upwards of $50 million at Terry Rozier. He's not even the best point guard on their team. Instead, Devontae Graham is doing things like this. Still, right now they are in a playoff spot, and Andrew Wiggins would keep them in a playoff spot out east. Nicholas Batum is there to make the salary work, and the first-round picks make it all worth it. Once Nicholas Batum comes off the books, the T-Wolves could lure some disgruntled superstar with all that cap space they have to pair with Cat. I don't know where we've seen that recently. Oh yeah, Anthony Davis, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Look, I don't think the T-Wolves should trade Andrew Wiggins. This is who he is and who he will be going forward. This change in philosophy and how the T-Wolves want to play have broken the bad habits that almost made him a bust. But one thing you can't quantify is his mindset and the fact that trade rumors have been swirling for years around Wiggins and the T-Wolves. So if that T-Wolves front office does want to sell high on their former #1 overall pick, a blockbuster trade could be in the future.
Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a weekly NBA video.